Given that Grand Theft Auto 5 was launched 9 years ago, you're definitely seeking for other GTA games to play now. If you become tired of running around Los Santos, there are plenty of other things to do. While GTA 6 is in development, it's likely still a while away, so you'll want to pass the time by playing one of the top games like Grand Theft Auto. We've chosen our favorites for you, whether it's a Saints Row, Watch Dogs, Red Dead Redemption, or something completely different. Red Dead Redemption 2. You can probably imagine why this one is here. After all, both the GTA and Red Dead series are produced by the same studio. Red Dead Redemption 2 exemplifies GTA's values of player freedom in a large open world that feels alive, a devotion to including even the smallest details, and morally questionable men and women doing morally questionable things. Despite the early 20th century setting, it'd be oversimplifying the experience to call Red Dead Redemption 2 Grand Theft Auto with horses, but if you're in the mood for GTA, it's well worth checking out. Just Cause 4. Just Cause 4 revels in unprecedented amounts of anarchy, and it does it by giving you, the player, an absurd amount of control. Check the wingsuit. Check the grappling hook. Double check your skill to surf on vehicles as a powerful tornado lifts them into the air. If you thought GTA 5's ragdoll physics were amusing, wait till you see what you can do in the Republic of Medici. To be clear, Just Cause 4 lacks the storytelling depth and mechanical refinement of Rockstar's flagship genre, but it shines with its high-flying approach to huge carnage choreography. Watch Dogs 2. The first Watch Dogs was such a bleak experience that Aiden Pierce's revenge story became almost unpleasant by the conclusion, but Ubisoft took that criticism to heart for the sequel. As a result, the studio's follow-up eschews the sentiments and tone of recent Grand Theft Auto games in favor of exploiting its setting as the backdrop for sharp satire. Remember the Grand Theft Auto 5 quest Life Invader? Watch Dogs 2 is essentially the same thing, just on a much larger scale. Although Rockstar's Silicon Valley spoof still has a slight edge over Ubisoft's, Watch Dogs 2 provides enough of laughs for anyone who has had to sit through an Apple keynote or a Facebook commercial. You also get to utilize pool balls linked to bungee cable as weapons, which is quite cool. Yakuza 0. Grand Theft Auto has long been praised for the way it brings cities to life, with dozens of side missions to enjoy outside of the main game. This design idea is taken to its logical conclusion in Yakuza 0. Yakuza 0 includes karaoke, pool, arcades, wrestling, bowling, dance, gambling, and awkwardly viewing some sexual content in the back of a video store, whilst Grand Theft Auto 5 has tennis, yoga, and stock brokering. Not all of the side diversions are nicely constructed, as that last one can attest, but the sheer volume and diversity of things to do is amazing. The scope isn't as large as GTA, but what Yakuza lacks in quantity, it more than makes up for in quality. Sleeping Dogs. Sleeping Dogs, which became an unexpected smash in 2012, blends martial arts and B-movie stunt action to the traditions of the open-world crime genre. The outcome is great, and it feels like a Grand Theft Auto game dressed up as a classic Bruce Lee film. Sleeping Dogs is a unique treasure that deserves greater praise for the new concepts it brought to the table, despite the fact that the sequel, which reportedly contained a co-op campaign, was scrapped while still in the early stages of development. In 2014, the game was re-released on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, so there's no excuse to leave Sleeping Dogs on the shelf. Mafia 2. Mafia 2 is an action-adventure game that was released in 2010 for the PS3, Xbox 360, PC, and Mac. The most recent installment in the franchise, Mafia 3, did not make the criteria. Although I enjoyed it, I felt it lacked polish. It seems to have been rushed out the door. But I digress. Instead, let's chat about Mafia 2. You won't be doing anyone's chores here, unlike in the GTA series. It's your narrative. There are no optional tasks or minigames to complete. While this method engages you emotionally in the plot, it leaves an otherwise vast and gorgeous universe feeling a little empty. The majority of your time will be spent driving from one location to another, with nothing to divert your attention away from your work. Prepare for some big changes in mission design and gameplay style if you're coming off the heels of the GTA series. The world is vast and beautiful to look at, but there is little need to travel around it. You'll be moving from one location to another, then repeating the process until you reach our protagonist's antagonist. Mafia 2 will not disappoint you if you're searching for a story-driven game similar to Grand Theft Auto. Payday 2. Payday 2 will be exactly up your alley if you enjoyed Grand Theft Auto 4's notorious 3-leaf clover task or Grand Theft Auto 5's heists. Overkill Software's multiplayer co-op adventure sends players on a series of high-stakes break-ins and robberies, but it's not as simple as snatching the cash and running. Payday 2 enables players to strategize and think through their game plan down to the smallest detail, even allowing them to scope out the location before committing the crime later that day, similar to Michael, Trevor, and Franklin's capers. Mafia 3. There has yet to be a Grand Theft Auto game that does not have a run-in with the Mafia in some way, so 2K's Mafia series is a fantastic place to start for open-world fans with an interest in organized crime. These games appear to be more grounded than the GTA series and its ilk, yet elements of games like San Andreas and Grand Theft Auto 4 may be seen in their design. Mafia 3, the most recent game in the series from Hangar 13, is more akin to Rockstar Games, with a concentration on side activities and a tale about a war veteran attempting to escape the demons of his past. The meaty, slow-burning narrative is as much influenced by The Godfather and Goodfellas as it is Grand Theft Auto, and it's written so well that you'll forget you're playing a video game rather than watching a Scorsese film. L.A. Noire. L.A. Noire is an open-world action-adventure game developed by Team Bondi and released by Rockstar Titles that takes a different approach to exploration and investigation than the other games on this list. Unlike the GTA series, you can't go crazy and murder everyone and everything. Only terrible guys' blood is allowed to be spilled. Face reading skills are more important than shooting and driving skills in this game. If you can't judge suspects by their facial expressions, you'll be led in the wrong direction, and the real criminals will escape. The game never forces you to accuse, doubt, or apprehend someone. You are the character's judge here. Are you convinced by the evidence? If that's the case, let them go. If they don't break, press them even harder. You can't take any chances here. You won't get to the bottom of the problem if you don't ask the right questions. Your success will be determined by these interrogations. You'll be much better if you get the hang of it quickly. However, you are not limited to these interrogation assignments. More action-oriented random missions are thoughtfully arranged throughout this 1940s Los Angeles recreation. Whatever you encounter in this game will be well worth your time. There are exciting adventures galore, ranging from crazy chases through dangerous alleys to becoming a hero and interrupting an ongoing theft. Yakuza series. While Yakuza 0 has previously been included in this list, it's only fair to highlight the other titles in the series, especially given the famous PlayStation action franchise's recent re-releases on PC and Xbox. The Yakuza series is not your standard humdrum action-adventure. It is a fascinating amalgamation of heavy-handed Japanese crime sagas and light-hearted minigames. Despite the fact that pestering and robbing people are two constants, this series focuses more on its funny side material, which you should consider participating in. As you'll discover, living as a Yakuza may be difficult, even if you're one of the most competent fighters capable of dealing with swarms of plebeians. This action-adventure can be intimidating to begin with, especially if you're unfamiliar with the series. Please take your time. It'll be a lengthy journey, but one you'll enjoy.